Hey everyone, welcome to Free Yoga Friday. Today's sequence is all about your hips and your hamstrings. These are two areas of the body that I see a lot of my clients have issues with, usually because there's a lot of tightness there and it's a difficult area to open up. So we're gonna go through a short sequence to really get into these bigger muscles in these deeper areas today. Now, part of the sequence is going to be on our knees. And so if you're sensitive to being on your knees, you might want to take an extra mat, maybe even a flat pillow or a blanket to give yourself some extra padding. All right, let's get started. Come to your mat. And we're going to start in child's pose. So bring your big toes to touch, bring your knees the width of the mat, and then walk your hands forward, bringing your forehead to the mat. And just take a few deep breaths here. Grounding down. Child's pose is a beautiful way to wake up the hips. It's a gentle hip opener, this version of child's pose. Take another deep inhale through the nose and exhale. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands over to the right of your mat, bringing your left hand on top of your right, and really opening up that left side body. Take a couple breaths here. And then walk your hands over to the left. And then come back to center and rise up to tabletop. Let's just take a few cat-cows because they feel good. Inhaling, dropping the belly down, looking up slightly. Just wake our spine up a little bit. And then exhale, tuck the chin and round the back. Let's do this again. Inhale, drop the belly down, look up. And exhale, tuck and round. We're just noticing how we're showing up this morning, noticing what we're feeling in our bodies. Beautiful. Now walk your hands back. I'm going to turn to face you. And I want you to kneel with your knees directly underneath your hips. Shoulders on top of your knees, so shoulders back, chest open. And we're going to extend our right leg out for gate pose. Now your foot can be parallel to the back of the mat. It can be pointed. Do what works for you. This can feel, having your foot parallel can feel pretty intense, especially if your hips are really tight. So just kind of work with that a little bit and find a place that works for you. And then once you have that place, we're going to take our right hand and just slide it down our right leg. And inhale, reach the left arm up to the sky. So you're not pushing on your knee here. You can let your hand rest directly below your knee or above your knee, but you don't want to press into that joint. And so two things are happening at once. You're lengthening your side body, and at the same time, you're getting a really intense inner thigh stretch, hip opening action happening here. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Remember to breathe through these poses. When we're getting into these more difficult areas, they're kind of stubborn areas, so we want to take a little bit longer. Unlike our vinyasa classes where we flow through from movement to movement at the pace of our breathing, we want to take the time to take a couple breaths in each of these poses. Beautiful. Come back to center. And then you're going to take your left hand and float it down to the mat and reach your right arm up and over. You're going to feel this stretch along the outer hip flexor area, in through the shoulder. Keep the chest open. Keep reaching here. You can also use a block to help elevate yourself. So let me just grab a block to demonstrate that. If this stretch is super intense, you can be right here and ease into it. We don't want to overstretch or overdo it. We're really trying to hone into our bodies and do what is right for you. Let a breath in and out. Release. Float back up. Now, we're going to walk our hands forward and we're going to sink our hips back. So once you feel it, you feel it. And you can let your forehead come to the mat. And lift your toes up in that extended leg. Now, once again, you can use this block to help you modify in whatever way works for you. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. You can stay here or walk your hands over even more towards that extended leg. Really feeling a deep stretch, that stretch shifting into the hamstring of the extended leg. This is such a tricky area for me. And I think anyone who, if you're a walker or hiker, if you run or bike, or if you're just a very active person, the hamstrings can get really, really tight and can cause a lot of issues in the rest of the body. And then walk back where we were, and we're going to rise up. Now, we're going to turn so that now our hips are in line and we're facing that extended leg. Good. And if you have a block nearby, you can work with the block and just kind of walk forward. Keep that extended leg, the toes lifting to the sky. You're getting this deep hamstring stretch. You can walk your hands out to either side if that's accessible to you. Take a couple breaths here. With every breath, you relax into the stretch a little bit more. And when we're working on these muscles like hamstrings or glutes or these large muscles, it really takes a lot of time, and it really helps if you can ease into it. And now you can continue to hold or start to windshield wiper your foot. Just moving your toes side to side. And when you do that, you're going to find kind of a sweet spot, that point where you think, oh yeah, that's where I need a little bit more. You can hold it in that spot for a couple more breaths. Beautiful. All right. Gently come out of this. And we're going to come back to the kneeling position that we were in. Whew, feel the difference in these legs. That right one feels really, really open. The hip and hamstring. All right, extend the left leg out this time. And again, you decide whatever works for you. You can have the toe lifted, you can have the toe pointed, you can have the foot parallel to the mat, whatever works for you. Inhale, arms up. We're going to slide the left hand down the left leg or whatever side you're on and reach the right arm up. Keeping the chest open, spine nice and straight. So that imagine if you have two panes of glass, one in front of you and one behind you, you would fit right in between them. You're not hunching forward. Breathe into it. And then rise back up. Same thing here. We're going to come down to the mat or a block and reach our left arm up to the sky. A lot of options here. You're just finding that point of resistance, a little bit of being uncomfortable, but not enough to bring pain. Beautiful. We're going to rise back up, keep the leg extended, and then we're just going to walk the hands forward. Again, that block or pillow or anything to elevate yourself to help modify this pose is a fantastic idea. Don't ever hesitate to use props to make these poses as comfortable for you as you need. Again, sometimes we play with that edge of being a little uncomfortable, but you don't ever want to, it should never be excruciating. And then sink the hips back to a point where you feel works for you. Keeping that heel flexed. Walk your hands back and rise up. Now we're going to turn to face that extended leg so you can kind of adjust as needed. And then using a block or walking your hands out, we're going to lean forward with a nice straight spine. So this side is significantly more tight than the other side for me. That's normal. Usually there's a difference on one side or the other. You might have a dominant side. That's completely normal. And as we start to breathe into this a little bit more, you might find that you can kind of ease into the pose a little bit more as well. Keeping your hips in line, so you don't want to open the hip, right? You want to keep the hips in line. Maybe going a little deeper. And then you can stay here or windshield wiper that foot side to side. And then find that point where you need a little bit more love and hold it there. Slow and steady breaths. Especially if you like faster paced yoga, focusing on your breath for these longer holds can be really helpful. Or even if you're just, a busy person, focusing on your inhales and exhales can really help. Let's take one more breath. Beautiful. And slowly come out of this. Let's finish today with butterfly pose, bringing your feet together. You can slide your heels towards your hips and just let your knees open to the side. You can also support your knees with blocks as you work into this. Take one more breath here. And release. All right. Woo! Feeling completely open. Just 15 minutes can make a huge difference. So I hope that this helped. I would love to hear any feedback you have about the poses. Where did you find stiffness in your own body? Where did you find what felt really good to you? I would love to hear your feedback. I hope everybody has a beautiful weekend, and I will talk to y'all soon. All right, bye.